Node.js core committer, keynote speaker, and professional educator, and he's gonna talk about how we can recreate Node.js.
Test runner.
Test runner. Okay, let's see.
I need a microphone. Hello, my friends. Are you sleeping? Oh, come on. How are you doing? Woo! I brought some crazy stuff here, so I'm gonna last your energy here, right? So this talk is about recreating Node.js test runner. So obviously, I had to recreate the Node test runner for making this talk. So it was one of the hardest things in my life to make it. I hope you like it. All the resources here are already on GitHub. The slides I'm going to provide you at the end too. So, but feel free to take as many pictures as you can. Mention me, mention the event. This helps us a lot with the work we've been doing. All right. So I have some goals today. And I'm always talking about this because I know it's a lot of talks, a lot of content. And sometimes it's hard to absorb everything here. So this is why I prepared the link later, and I'm going to send you on your mail all the resources to help you. So this talk was made to show you the magic behind the scenes, right? How Node.js is so powerful, why we've seen so many runtimes appearing, libraries, or features in the Node.js core. I'm going to show too some ideas for you to give even more value for those who work on open source, right? Because they, or us, I'm part of the Node.js core too. We've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and sometimes we just use, but we don't know how hard it is to create this and how we abstract the complexity. So it's a big shout out for all friends who's in open source development. And I need to give you some ideas and why you should recreate things from scratch. It's not something about production or just using everywhere. But it's something for you to think about it, right? Why we have Webpack, why we have ESLint, why we have so many tools and some tooling that is appearing right there, and how other tools like Dino, Bun, Cloudflare Workers, they are all helping Node.js to create these things. So it's a lot of things. Okay, part of this is part of my YouTube channel. So my YouTube channel, I've been doing a lot of these crazy experiments. Like this talk, I think I'm going to make a video later because it was pretty hard to make. But I've been making a lot of specific questions. Like, what if I recreate the ESLint? How ESLint is made behind the scenes? And then I figure out, my God, it's a lot of things. It's analyzing how JavaScript works behind the scenes. It's analyzing the syntax. So it's pretty great. The other thing was trying to recreate Uglify.js, generating source maps, minifying code, and doing a lot of crazy stuff there too. And one of my popular videos there was re-implementing the WebSocket protocol. So using binary codes, my God, it was really painful. And I think one of the craziest one, and I gave a talk about this, was recreating Node.js from scratch. Has anyone seen this before? Nice. I gave this talk in CityJS, London. So it was pretty fun. And let's see. So the whole goal here is to understand the magic, right? To understand why Node.js has a test runner, why. So Node.js is there since 2009, and why just now we have the test runner? It's crazy to think about it. Before I go on, just let me know how many of you has used the Node.js test runner. Wow, just a few people. Yeah. Let's see if I can change your mind to stop using some competitors and start using the Node.js test runner. Okay, after recreating all those things, I was thinking, okay, we've seen test runners appearing right there, right? We've seen VTest, we saw Node test runner, we saw Bun creating from scratch. So I got some ideas like, yeah, I should recreate one just to see how hard or how easy this could be. And it turned out it wasn't that hard, but it's a lot of work. It's the effort involved on this that it's hard. And Node.js is amazing, right? I would say since Node.js 18, I don't know, things are going too fast. We changed the website, so there you could see the docs later. You can see more blog posts, and it's crazy seeing how those competitors have been, I would say, motivating or sharing ideas so Node.js can improve and we can add more and more ideas. Well, not a while ago, I solved a bug in the Node.js core, and I finally joined the organization, and I feel so happy there. It's a volunteer work, but for me it means a lot. Well, the test runner is there, and the test runner, differently than a lot of people think, they are not just experimental, right? It's stable, so you can start using right away. I would say 90% of the features that you wish to see on a test runner is already there, but there's a lot of work going on. And this was my kid, right? So this is the first thing I implemented from scratch on Node.js. So I implemented the mock timers. It's very similar to fake timers on sign-on, on Jest. Has anyone worked with fake timers or mock timers? Amazing. It's an ability for you to move in time without having to wait, right? So you can trigger a set timeout without having to wait for it, so you can do everything basically synchronously. Okay, the first thing when I saw there, I've been working as a software developer for almost 10 years, and I was like, well, I'm gonna use the for to dispatch these timers, and I'm gonna just try doing this, like enqueuing the messages or enqueuing the functions, and I'm gonna just disappear or send later. So here, this piece of code just get all the timers you have. So you have, let's say, a set timeout with 1 second and a set timeout with 2 seconds. So probably the set timeout that must execute first is the lower time, right? The 1 second. So I was just running here, and I got a review in the PR. No. Node.js has a lot of algorithms built in that you can use that is way faster than this way that you are doing. So going there, they recommended me to try using things that are already on the Node.js core. So I would say this is why the Node test runner is 10 times faster than a lot of other test runners out there. Because Node.js is C++, right? So we can interrupt, we can start using functions, and everything that is already there for a long time. So on my pull request, I got some pretty cool stuff. So they said, well, go there and look at the priority queue. Has anyone seen this algorithm before? Well, this was the first time I saw it, but basically the priority queue, I would add my functions there, my timers, by the priority order. So on the top, I always have the lower time to just execute it. I don't have to go around on the list. I don't have to find it. I don't have to filter. When I'm inserting the data in the order of the priority. So I started using right away, and my code looked like this. Right now, I have this very specific function, but I have pick just to get the first item on the list, and I am executing, removing this from the list, and just executing. Well, this exploded in my mind, right? Blow me away because, well, what if most of the other packages we are implementing from scratch, we're using regular code, but what if we could just reuse code that is around there for 10 years and it's way faster than we think right now? It's crazy, isn't it? Okay. So this is the piece of code. And when we start recreating things, we think like, okay, test runner is a feature to execute tests. But in my mind, it was like, wow, there are a lot of components, there are a lot of topics that I never thought about. There are complexities and challenges that we should take care or we should think about it. Well, first of all, you need a CLI, right? So Node.js is just the keyword node is the CLI we use with --test to execute it. So the test runner has the CLI inside it. But if you want to recreate it from scratch, we're going to need to recreate or to build up a CLI as well. So going through the components, we start giving names to all of them. The first component is the execution engine. It's basically the one that's going to load your folder and start executing each individual test. By default, Node.js has to execute it in parallel. Node.js takes each different file in a new process, so you can run all of them really, really fast. And in Node.js, right now, we just use Node. I'm using the new experimental test coverage. I have the flag for test, and I just send a test. So this is basically the CLI that we have there to execute our code, to execute our functions. Well, the other thing is reporting. My God, this is, I would say, is the most effort that we should do, right? You are handling strings. There are reporters that prints out your test results as XML, as HTML. So there are a lot of complexities right there just to print out the results. And in Node.js, we've seen a lot of them. We've seen tap, which is one of the most popular around there. We've seen spec, dot, JUnit. Crazy, isn't it? JUnit in Node.js built-in. But yeah, it's already there. It works very fine. And you can even create your own your own spec, your own reporter. You can extend it so you can use on SonarQube, you can use on other CLIs, or just print out as you wish. It's pretty good, this API. Well, basically, we have the result here, right? So we can see which task is passing, how long it took. We can see the errors, if there's any of them. We can see the file. Pretty basic, right? Every test runner is doing this, and there's nothing special about this. But if you look at the code in the Node.js core, you're going to see like hundreds and hundreds of lines just to make those reporters work. All right, now I'm going to talk something that we've seen a lot in our daily lives. Let's get some water. Oh. So first of all, who's here has been using Jest for testing? Ooh. I mean, Jest is good. Jest is good, right? It's been there since 2013 and more. Who's here is working with vtest? Ooh. Just so you know, I'm not here to create like technology wars, right? You use whatever you wish or what is better. However, you should give a try in Node.js core, in the Node.js test runner, because, I mean, it's going to blow your mind. It's really fast. When I had a YouTube video there that I was comparing and migrating from one to another, and I had like 10 times the difference of this. But there are a lot of reasons of this. It's the same thing that we've seen with Dino and Bun now. They're saying, well, we are way faster than Node.js, and this, and that. But it's not fair, right? It's like you get all the ideas, or you get all of the problems, or things that didn't work, or things that worked, and you start implementing right away. So you reuse all this stuff. So, okay. The first component is the test suite itself, okay? The test suite for us as a developer is just the describe. So for each describe in Node.js, you're going to have tests around there. You can divide better, and you can see it logging on your code by context, right? You have like a very good hierarchy working there. We also have test cases. So test cases, so it's actually your use case, right? It's the actual test that if it fails, we're going to see on the report working right there, and it's pretty straightforward as well. Other thing are the hooks. One thing about the hooks is, when I start implementing this, we're thinking, okay, how can I make Node.js execute a function first without declaring it? It's crazy. Imagine this. We have before each, we have after each. So this means, imagine before running a test, I want to clean up my database. I want to create users, run a C, and so on and so forth. Or after each test, I want to clean up. But the first challenge we may see here is they are global variables, right? We don't have objects. So how are they linked? This is something that got my mind. How can I say that the before is going to execute before the it? Because the it function should be the last one to be executed. I'm going to answer this later with some live code. Do you like live code? Oh, you guys are mad. I was thinking I'm going to do some video, but I'm like, you know what? Let's try seeing live code and let's see how this works. So yeah, live code is always terrifying, right? But let's see how this will work. Before we jump to the live code, I think just summarizing the whole idea, we need an executor. So we have the CLI there that's going to load our folder. We have the JS API, which is the actual code that we are writing on our code, on our tests. And we have a reporter. With those three, you can create your own test runner and try competing with Jest or others. Well, I had a bunch of challenges when building these things. And I'm going to jump showing how I solved them. And then I'm going to go to the actual source code. So first of all, parallelism. So for each file that I have there, so imagine each file has 100 tasks. They are executing in parallel. So how I'm going to log all of them like in order? If you see the reporters, you're going to see test, the file one is printing all of the things in order. You're going to see, and it's crazy. It's crazy. But for solving this problem, we're going to use that. For me, it's the most incredible API in Node.js to solve this problem. So this API I'm going to show you too, it's something that helps for both reasons. Working with async context. So what is the async context in this case? Imagine we are creating our code there. We have a bunch of features, right? We have the describe, and we created an it inside it. If the it fails, how do I know that this belongs to the describe, right? Because we need the whole tree back to report to the user. So we need some way to track this and get along with the results. So you can see there, I have a describe. Inside the describe, I would have a bunch of its. If this update fails, it shouldn't log the first get because it's not related. It's related to the patch and so on, so forth. To read this, we can use one of the most incredible APIs in Node.js, asyncHooks. Has anyone seen this API before? Wow, 3 persons in the whole audience. It's crazy, isn't it? Probably those guys are working with some performance monitoring or something related. This API I found pretty complex to analyze, and this is what makes Node.js slow. Ooh, a hard thing to say, right? It's slow in Node.js parameters, right? Or filters there. What happened here? Using Node.js, you can create a single function that is going to receive all async iterations your application has had. Now imagine, every time you create a promise, every time you receive a request, you can go through this function to log results and see those results and report them on performance monitoring application and so on, so forth. So I found this pretty complex. They have like a docs there, but the docs for me wasn't pretty clear. But for using them, I would like to use async storage. So this API, async local storage, is like an abstraction for our API, and now it's way easier to work. So I can instantiate this function. I can say that I'm saving something on the storage, and then I can catch it later. But look, the problem with Node.js, we've seen a lot of people saying, well, everything that's going to be executed, we have an event loop. We don't have like a multi-threading system to organize those functions. So if I have a global variable here, saving the ID of the usuario or the user or just the request, probably I'm going to have like a racy condition error and a bunch of problems. But here, what I'm doing is basically creating a session that tracks all the asynchronous activity of the user just with this simple code. So when I have a global problem, look at this, it's a global. I don't have anything related to the user. So I can get the star without passing any ID. See, Node.js knows exactly what is related to that user. And then, one of the coolest things, I can use the response and reply to the user. So this means your application is never going to crash anymore, because you can get the user, you can get the object, reply to them, and just keep replying to the new users. Incredible. So we have reporting as well. And let's see the live coding, how it's going to work. All right. Well, basically, I created a full project there. Let me see if I can open here. Oh. Are you awake? Perfect. All right. So I'm going to do it pretty quickly. We have 5 minutes remaining. All right. Let me increase this zoom here. So as I told you, everything here I already published on the GitHub, so you can take a look later. But let's go through each individual step here. So I have this app, which is spoiler right now. Let's go to the runner. Let's see if the zoom is okay. So as I told you, we have 2 different components, right? We have the API, which I'm calling here the module, and we have the executor. So the executor is this bin folder. All right. So basically, the executor, it's going to do something pretty simple, pretty straightforward for us. It's going to try loading all the files we have there and sending to another class so they can be executed in parallel. So what I'm going to do here, if I go to the test runner, why I have something here. When I'm executing this, I'm just spawning a child process for each individual file. Surely, when we are doing Node.js, Node.js can handle the memory and do all the tweaks for you. But here's just an experiment, right? So I'm running, waiting for those messages. And here, I can wait, and I can synchronize the order of the results. OK, I'm gonna just scroll this a bit and show how it's done. Well, once I have the executor, I have to execute the files, right? So going back there, we need an API. So the users can have the hooks, can have the proper API so we can start using. OK, I'm going to go through now to the other side, to the Node.js API. So let's see how it looks like. So if we take a look at the code, we're going to see I'm just importing all the hooks that I'm going to use in this file. So I have the module.js here. I didn't install anything there. This is 0 libraries code. This is something nice. But here, I have all the hooks. I have the before it, before, after it. I implemented also a diagnostic function like Node.js is doing. And I'm doing the deep string equal exactly as we've been using in another tools or in Node.js itself. OK, to implement this, we can see the test runner itself. And here is where the magic happens. So I won't going to go to the describe yet, because this is the hacking thing. But something that we understand first. When we are declaring it, we are not executing it. This is why we can execute in the future. And we can execute first the before or after some execution. So here, I'm just accumulating, adding to some function. But then when I have the actual suite, I can execute it. So for all those hooks, I'm just adding to a list, nothing special. When I have some message to send to the main process, I just use process send. But here is exactly the same thing for all of them. You can think as if you have one hook, you just can copy and paste it right away to start using. And to see this in practice, we can see we have the run suite. I run all befores I have for that specific context. I have the before each, and so on, so forth. Remember I told you about asyncHooks? Let's see how it's working in practice. So asyncHooks is right I think it's named Storage. Look how amazing is this. I can use the context get, so it doesn't matter ID, it doesn't matter where it came from. I just get the store. Node.js is smart enough to go there and retrieve all the context for me. Why we need the context? Because if I'm using an it inside the describe, I should print out, well, this it belongs to this describe. So this is how we are doing. So in this case, I'm using run. I execute the actual describe because it's the first function, and then I just start executing the others. Amazing, isn't it? Well, I think you are a bit curious to see how it's working in practice. So I'm going to press F5. And my God, this is amazing. Let's see here. Pretty hacky stuff, but you can see there. I built a reporter very similar to the Node.js core. We can see the errors. And the most important thing here, I can see where this error belongs. Test fails. Okay, test fails is there, and I have the message related to it. Remember the logs problem? If we are executing parallel, this might be hard to understand which one is calling what. Okay, just to jump to the final part where I built an actual application to try using my test runner to see if it works. I'm going to show you the reporter. I'm going to be honest with you. I built this reporter with our friend, ChatGPT, right? So, by the way, we have a very interesting new API in Node.js, so you can print out results colorful. And here, I just use a reporter to print out, generate the summary, but this is not the code I got from ChatGPT. The formatter is the thing. My God, this is smells, right? My God, it's ugly, but it works fine. Basically, I'm creating the whole tree to understand who is coming first, who is going to be last, and then I can see those results and see. To print out colorful, I just use gray, green, and so on and so forth. All right, I'm going to show this code later for you. I'm going to give you the link so you can run it. But let's see this application that I made so we can finish the live demo here. Well, an actual application have database, we have HUE tests. It's a lot of complexity around this, right? So let's see the test first before we spoil everything. So I'm working on HUE test, right? So before each test, I can go there and say, well, initialize my server. Wait. I think this is not after each, not before each. It's before and after. So before the suite runs, I'm going to execute both of them. Let's see if it's there. Perfect. So before the code, before everything happens, I'm going to just execute the code, just run my server. And after all, I'm going to just close the server. And you can see here, I'm using run seed. This means that before everything, I'm going to just clean up the database and execute it. Talking about the test itself, it's pretty straightforward, as we've been doing in any other language or any other test runner. I just have the input. I just check with deep strict equal, which is native in Node.js. So you feel here that you are in the Node.js core. All right, let's run this. Oh, I have some error here. Let's see. All right, I'm going to stop the debugger, and I'm going to run it. Oh, my God, let's see. Well, we have some error. The import. We have two of them. Let's see. Before. Oh, you are. OK, I'm going to, I think if I save it, it's going to run away or not. Let's see. So the burger attached. Let's see if I'm not in the correct folder. Just a sec. No, app, npm test. Let's see. Oh, I need to execute the database first, right? All right. The database is right there, so I'm not lying, and I'm going to run the test. And wow, we have everything working, right? We have one passing test. I don't know why, but this is what happens when we are working, right? So this works as we are in production and as we are working in any other language, okay? So before I finish, I got to know Node.js Test Runner is amazing. Try it out. And if you want to get this content, just go to this link, and I'm gonna show you everything on your email. I'm gonna send a document with all the studies and everything I've been doing right there. Okay, just to enjoy this last moment, let's take a selfie, right? Woohoo!
On my idea.
Yeah.
I want to do it afterwards.
No, we do it again. All right, I'm gonna count on 3, and we just scream, okay? Yeah, let's make some noise. We need some energy. All right, 1,